Rocketman and Godzilla, King of the Monsters, coming up next on the blog rundown. And we're going to kick off the show, John, with the first review coming in from Philip Henry.
Yes.
As Rocketman. We both saw this.
We did.
Quite a while ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a couple of weeks back at least, yeah. Yeah, it was a good few weeks back.
Yep, this is directed by Dexter Fletcher, as we know, or Babyface, as Philip mentions. And it stars the likes of Taron Egerton, Jamie Bell and Richard Madden.
Yes, Stephen, obviously the biopic musical all about the great Elton, I was about to say John, but I'm right, Elton John, I got there in the end. Elton Hercules John. Of course, what was his real name, Stephen? I can't recall.
Reginald Dwight.
Reginald Dwight, yes. It's all about him. Yeah. It's all about his life with some fantastical elements flung in there, Stephen. Fantasy elements. I really enjoyed it, I have to say. I think Philip really enjoyed it as well, having read his review. Very different movie to, obviously, Bohemian Rhapsody, which Dexter Fletcher took over. With how much of that he actually did, we're not too sure. I think actually, Philip actually says that. You do have to wonder at times just how much of that movie was his and how much was singers. Because when you go and watch this, Steve, you can see the guy has just that ability. He has that little flair for a musical. I think he was involved in Sunshine on Leaf.
He was, yeah.
There's a couple of other ones which evade me or elude me at the moment. But the guy knows how to do a good musical, and this is, again, representative of that, Stephen. I thought it was really fantastic the way that he blended the story element of obviously Elton getting into the Alcoholic Anonymous group. Yeah. And then obviously came back and walking through his life from there. But we're getting all over the place, but at no point did I feel it was jarring. Took me out of the movie. Obviously he goes in, he's older, then he goes back to his childhood, in his childhood home, and just the tension between him and his father, and just obviously his mother was a little bit of a, how can I say it politely? I can't really. She's a little bit of a wronging. She was sleeping around. And obviously they split up, and then he goes off and it shapes him and follows him through his career. But it's all over. It goes back to his youth, goes forward and then it's back and then forward again. But I never felt it was jarring. I thought it was beautiful the way they structured it. Really liked the musical numbers too. But look, we're not here to talk about our opinion. We're here to talk about the review and fling out into our opinion when it's probably needed, Stephen. He does say, Philip, that obviously starts off showing you him getting his first gig in a local pub, which was really cool as well. I enjoyed that element. And that was reminiscent of, obviously, Bohemian Rhapsody, where we see Frederick meeting the gang after a pub. He goes in and watches them performing live. That's right, yeah. And then they end up coming together. Stephen, did you prefer this or to Bohemian Rhapsody, or did you think Bohemian Rhapsody was better than this?
It's
two different movies.
Yeah, I was going to say that, John. Yeah. They are two different movies. Bohemian Rhapsody was more biopic in terms of Freddie Mercury's life. It was let's admit it. You know, the focus on that film was primarily on him rather than the rest of the guys. But it was more of a played out biopic. This is more surreal in a sense. Some of the visuals in this film as well, John, some of the transitions you get from, as you said, from those AA meetings into, you know, walking down into that cul-de-sac at the very start of the film. And that's the thing I liked about the way Dexter Fletcher handled this film as well, that he, from the kick-off, let the audience know this is going to be a surreal musical. It's going to be an out-and-out musical. We're going to have people dancing in this cul-de-sac along with Elton John, and this is the way we're going to take you forward in this journey through this period of his life. So I like that, you know, and Philip does mention this, you know, the structure of this film as well is different from the Queen one. But yeah, I think if you're asking me what one I preferred, it's a very hard question because they are two different films. I liked Bohemian Rhapsody for its structure and storytelling as a biopic, as a band. But this, I liked the way that they handled that certain points of his life. It was more the sort of bullet points of Elton John's life in that period. Whereas Bohemian Rhapsody was more sort of A, B, C, D, E, you know. This kind of jumped about a bit. If I was to pick one and what one I would prefer, possibly, I would probably say this one. I would actually say this one. I think I like the way it's structured, and as you said, it's not jarring at all.
No, Stephen, it also then goes in and speaks about Jamie Bell playing, I think, Bernie Taupin, one of, he was obviously young to Elton John.
Certainly was.
And actually you see that with the performances as well, and he does touch upon that. Philip, he's not a fan of Jamie Bell. He says that he always came across as a slightly arrogant chap. He thinks he's slightly overrated, but I have to say, and he does agree, that he was fantastic in this movie. I liked that quieter persona to the flamboyance and the absolute craziness and the debauchery of obviously Elton in this movie. Taron Egerton really did do a fantastic job as well of performing or portraying Elton. I thought it was a fantastic dive into this guy's psyche and what really made him tick throughout those early years, through the 70s, the drugs, just the destructive nature, the drink, and just the way that they sort of used him when he started rising to prominence. These sycophantic figures round about, controlling figures. So obviously the guy that plays the manager, I forgot his name, Richard Madden. Just talking about him as well. I actually forget the actual actor, the character's name. Not Richard Madden. But obviously he steps in and starts manipulating him, and then we see the Bernie guy starting to fall away. He goes off and does his own thing in England. Separates him from people that he's probably more emotionally attached to, and then he goes into a dark descent in the movie. I really enjoyed that. I'm giving it away here, but I did enjoy the fact that it showcased this darker side to fame, and obviously the life of a, how would you put it, a musician in the 70s. Obviously he's surrounded with all this riches, he's living in a big mansion, but he's deeply unhappy. And you've seen that in Bohemian Rhapsody as well, Stephen, with obviously Freddie buys a big 16 room mansion in London, but he's on his own and deeply unhappy. So they both touch upon similar themes in each movie, but I really liked that. I like the fact that they didn't shy away from showing the darker side, the drugs and whatnot. And obviously Philip does say they don't go deep enough for him, for the cocaine, getting into that and the alcohol, but I seem to recall there was a scene where he was stuffing so much up his nose that he actually started bleeding. And it was just, he just can't help himself. He's trying to escape this world. And then obviously right after that, he just walks right out. I think it's Madison Square Gardens or something like that.
The baseball gear,
He walks straight out and then ends up getting into the Alcoholic Anonymous groups, and that obviously shows you going full circle, showing you where he's been and where he ends up, how he ends up where he is at the beginning of the movie. But I digress, I went off on a big tangent there, Stephen. Jamie Bell, what did you make of him? Did you like him as an actor? He obviously was in Billy Elliot as well. I think actually Dexter Fletcher was involved in Billy Elliot, so
Well, you know, I think that's his background. It says here in the review as well. He started off in Bugsy Malone as Babyface, for people that might remember that. I remember Dexter Fletcher, I think, was in a television programme, children's television programme, in the sort of late 80s called The Press Gang, and he played an American, and his accent was shocking. Jamie Bell's I don't mind him at all. I thought he playing this character in this movie, and a very important part of Elton John's life as well. I thought he nailed it, and Philip does say he does nail it perfectly. I can't disagree with that, John. So I thought the casting of this movie was fantastic. Also, for it being a period piece, it was very authentic, very much like Bohemian Rhapsody, capturing that sort of decade, not over exaggerating the fashion and
but just him. His fashion was just ridiculous, wasn't it?
But it really did add to the sort of realism of these events. But you're right, that whole sequence, I think it was the Rocketman sequence, wasn't it? Under the water, and then, as you said, he ends up, performing on stage. That was probably the best part of the film for me. Yeah,
just the connotations it also brought up, Stephen, of him coming from trying to kill himself to getting jabbed in the neck, and then having been flung on stage again. Just the manipulation of these figures. No matter what's going on in his life, where he is mentally, physically, he's going to be forced to go on and live this sort of a false persona. I really enjoyed that. It wasn't actually involved in Billy Elliot, it was the screenwriter, whose name eludes me at the moment. He was involved. Lee Hall wrote Billy Elliot, so there's a thread of connection throughout. Get people starring in Billy Elliot and screenplays. We'll just get a lot of experience surrounding musicals in general with this movie, which is why, Stephen, it's probably hit for me as much as it did. I like a well-created musical, and I thought this was really
this
well
country
created.
Does, John. I think
it does.
They seem to go down well, certainly over the last 5 or 6 years. And I think since Bohemian Rhapsody, it really has opened up the doors for these living legends like Elton John. I think there's even talk about a Rod Stewart one. That'd be interesting. From his sort of background in London, how he became a Scotland fan. You know, through
His dad's Scottish.
I think his dad was Scottish. Yeah, I think you've also got the the background of the Faces.
Yeah.
And then his solo career and
Yeah,
all the other stuff
very
he's
good.
done. So, yeah, it's very interesting. But we'll move on anyway
shall.
to our next movie review coming in from the movie Couple. It's Godzilla, King of the Monsters from this year, and this is directed by Michael Dougherty, who also wrote the screenplay along with Zach Shields, and this stars the likes of Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, and Millie Bobby Brown.
Yes, Stephen, this is obviously the latest in a sort of a monsterverse which has been created. I believe back in 2014 we had Godzilla, and I'm sure it starred Bryan Cranston.
It did, yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it. Then we had Kong Skull Island, and now we've got this.
Yeah.
And they're all interweaving. Now, obviously, Jerry has admitted in this review that he is a big fan of Godzilla. He watched the movies growing up as a child. He is an out-and-out fan of the Monsterverse, sort of a setup. Elizabeth, not so much. I think she's more in the vein of myself, and perhaps you as well.
Yeah.
Not so well, how should I put it? I'm not in touch with also the Monsterverse. I don't know many of the characters. The likes of King Ghidorah, I think it is. And I'm pretty sure it was King Ghidorah, but I'm not in touch with him anyway. So this wasn't a movie that was perhaps aimed at me, my demographic. It seems to have been aimed at, and Jerry actually touches upon it in his review, where he's flinging out various references and things that big fans of the series and characters will understand, but if you're not, it's perhaps not for you, and it'll go right over your head. And in my instance, it did go right over my head. But Stephen, we reacted to the trailers.
Yeah.
Both were pretty honest in their assessment of the trailers.
Yeah.
I says that whilst I enjoyed the CG for the most part, I was concerned it was going to be overly reliant on the CG and whatnot, and perhaps the story would falter or suffer as a result. That I would wait until the critics said their bit on it, and then I would perhaps judge whether I was going to go and watch it in the cinema off of that. I think you were a little bit more
Sceptical.
And
Yeah. I felt the CG in the trailers was very poor. I can't comment on the final product because, as you know, John, a lot of trailers are put out very early on when they're still developing the CG, and by the the release date, the CG's top notch. I assume it is here, but there is a mention in here of a lot of dark shots, sequences. We talked about this before we came on air, John. If it's done right, it's something that doesn't really take you out of the picture.
No.
You were talking about the likes of Jurassic Park,
all the
which
way
I
back
actually watched last week. Some of it is aged terribly, but those scenes that we were referring to in the dark at night, when it's
because
the
there's
rain,
a single source of light, so you can utilise simpler effects, and because it's dark, it becomes slightly more realistic. You can get away with a lot more in a darker setting. So I think this is what they've done here, Stephen. They obviously have a limit to a budget. They've not got an unlimited budget, so they've had a limit, and they've had to perhaps scale back certain scenes and make it darker so they could utilise slightly less good CG and perhaps slip some more in, some more action in, because it's apparently very action laden. Certainly the first half. I've not seen it.
No.
I did see on box office. I'm not the biggest fan of Godzilla. And as I did say, if I'd get good feedback, that would have maybe forced me to go and watch it in the cinema. As it was, it didn't get good feedback, Stephen. It's doing crap at the box office in terms of what they would have expected, Warner Brothers. So I've not went to see it. I'm perhaps going to side more with Elizabeth here, because she didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
She wasn't bad enough for her to walk out, but she wasn't a fan of it. Whereas Jerry, even he being a fan of Godzilla, has only given it an average to very semi-good rating. So it's not really attracting me to go out.
It certainly does build a picture, John. And Jerry refers to the old matinee films from the Saturday morning serials. I didn't grow up with them. I actually grew up with the animated series. Jerry, you might remember Godzuki as well, which is a reference in Godzilla. This was before your time, John. But that's what I grew up on. But the rest of that kind of stop motion Sinbad stuff that was out around about that time.
I've seen them.
I didn't grow up with that at all.
I didn't grow up with it, but I've seen them.
I couldn't really take to that at all. I don't know what it was, but
there was a slight charm to the Sinbad movies. I don't know what it was. Just that stop motion. It was almost reminiscent of the what was it called? Rancor from Star Wars.
All right, the Rancor,
the Rancor pit in Return of the Jedi. Almost synonymous with that. That slightly charming but crappy stop motion. So maybe I should give them a bash, Stephen.
Well, I actually thought, and I'm not being facetious when I say this, but I actually thought they were paying homage to that kind of animation in that second trailer. I think there was a hint of that, and I don't think, I'm not being negative when I say that. I think perhaps that was deliberate on their part, because to me, coming into that stood out a mile. You've seen our reaction, it stood out a mile. But Jerry does say that, this is action-packed as well. It's just battle after battle. We did check out some of the, the techniques that they used from the film as well, John, especially with that three-headed.
I was going to say that,
as well. So I'll let you in here.
Perhaps the mocapping or the animation wasn't as fluid as it could have been, because it was actually human beings doing the mocapping. This wasn't fully CG creatures being animated on a computer screen or whatever.
I would assume that would work better though.
Yeah, I think
clearly it didn't.
No, for me, I've not seen it. Also, but from the trailers, it did look stuttery. I think he says it was like Munchies, was it, or Chewits? Chewits adverts from back in the day. And you actually see the photograph. There was 3 different guys doing the mocapping for King Ghidorah, the big 3-headed creature, and they were essentially joined together, velcroed together, so they were having to weave as a harmonious whole to make this a believable sort of a performance. I don't know how good it was. Maybe if I watch it at some point in my life, then I'll perhaps be able to tell you whether it was a good performance in terms of mocapping. There's one guy doing Godzilla, and I had to laugh. There's a little toy Godzilla down in the marking in the floor for where he's to stand, and I thought that was a little bit funny. Like this guy in mocap gear with a little plastic Godzilla next to him, just to let him know this is where you stand. Don't look at the camera. Don't say the wrong words like Keith Chegwin in Extras. I buried my sister today. My sister buried me today. So that's cool. They still utilise those techniques even for these big blockbuster Hollywood movies. But Stephen, they do touch upon the family element. Vera Farmiga, a family of scientists. We had a little chuckle at that before we came on. The concept of there being a whole family of scientists or 3. It's a little unlikely. And apparently that falls by the wayside. It's not really handled. She's not believable. Certainly Elizabeth didn't think she was believable.
It's like the Scooby-Doo thing with the the group of boys and girls. They're all private detectives. What's the chances?
Very unlikely. But yeah, Stephen, they did say the family element obviously fell by the wayside. It was more focused on the action. I don't know how the military aspect came in. I know there was this sort of a side sort of a rogue organisation which tried to bring the Titans or the monsters out, and obviously that I don't know how that worked. I've not seen the movie, but apparently the action, whilst good as you did say, didn't wow everybody because it was mostly filmed in darkness, and it was a blink if you miss it.
We also just jumping ahead to next year, John, or could be beyond. There was obviously we were talking about the Kong and Godzilla film as well, which is still in pre-production. Pre-production. That's penciled in for 2020. You did mention that there's a possible delay on this. Is this?
Yeah, I think they're delaying it. Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
I'm not too sure, Stephen. It may be because of the lacklustre performance at the box office. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoyed the Kong Skull Island movie. I thought that was a really enjoyable film. So perhaps I should go and give us a bash. Well, I did enjoy Godzilla.
Well, I was actually going to round this up, John, with going to ask you, do you think you will get round to seeing this movie? I think I'm going to hold off till probably it comes on, one of the streaming platforms. I don't think I'm going to.
I'd actually have to go into IMDb, Stephen, and find out exactly what is coming out over the next few weeks. But I think there's a lot of movies. Toy Story 4, Child's Play, The Lion King. And even with an unlimited pass, there is a limit to what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's a limit to what I can see. Spider-Man Far From Home. There's a whole, in Fabric as well, that cool little A24 horror, Yesterday. So there is a lot of movies coming out. Robert the Bruce.
We'll talk about that another time.
So I don't think so.
No.
Is the short answer.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think I'll go and see it.
But listen, that just wraps up this week's blog rundown. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we will all be back again tomorrow with the Force Friday show.